Hi there. Good evening, social change warriors. Welcome to tonight's special episode. We will be on at 9 tonight with our regularly scheduled Calling Out Corruption, and that'll start at 9 o'clock. So I'm Catherine Felton Page. I'm your host, your motivator for Social Change Warriors, our motivational platform. Our movement, there's all kinds of lovely names you can call us, but we are just here to raise awareness. That's really what our main goal is. We want to raise awareness of corruption in your communities, whether it be the police department or the government. We want you to tell us about what's going on in your communities and help us get the word out for you. So I gotta situate my chair. I'm not in my office tonight because we have a guest. So my office is also the guest room. So I'm in my kitchen. So you get my decorative kitchen Halloween and now November. So as you all know, and thank you everyone who joined tonight. This was a stream that my guest Digital Warrior I decided to do last minute. So we don't really know how many people are going to catch us live, but hopefully you'll catch us in replay. And we always appreciate that, whether you come live or replay. It's all good. We're just trying to share out information, make the world a better place by being active in our communities the best we can. And sometimes live streaming is an awesome tool. As you all know, I have a neck injury from when I was a police officer, so I can't always go out into the world and do things on the ground, boots on the ground, and I'm in 2 states constantly. So as much as I would love to travel to some of these standouts that go on, I would love to be there in person, but that's not always possible for the majority of us. But we can hop on our social medias. We can share out information via our Twitter X or our, whatever we have, or they have Instagram or Facebook, whatever it is. So I'm just glad you're here. I'm glad you're here live, or I'm glad you're here on replay. And I'm glad you're supporting us, because I'm just trying to do just a little bit of good in this world before it's my time to leave. I am retired, so I don't work for money anymore. So this channel is completely volunteer. And also, if we ever were to accept any type of donations, those would all be donated back out to whatever cause that we were following at the time, or we could divide it amongst several causes. But as of right now, I'm not making that an option. So just a volunteer trying to do good works, trying to help educate you a little bit if I can, maybe teach you something that you didn't know, and definitely motivate you to stand for victims of crime, and especially domestic violence murder. So I'm just going to do one quick thing with my audio. I'll be right back. So, okay, there's like a little reunion going on my patio right now. So I could hear the dog and talking. I didn't know if you guys could hear it, but I wanted to make sure that door got closed. So anyway, tonight, our special get together, like I said, at 9 o'clock is our regular episode this week of Calling Out Corruption, where we're going to call out the corruption in the Ellen Greenberg murder in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and honor Ellen's life and try to be a voice for her family and friends, and hopefully get more people to talk about this horrific murder of Ellen and the fact that nobody's ever gone to jail, and they even had the audacity to frame her for her own murder, which even it's more egregious. It's already bad, but when you get framed for your own murder, then it's even worse. And that was just happening in Canton, Stoughton, Massachusetts, where the perpetrator tried to frame Sandra Birchmore for her own murder. And we've spoke on that many times on this channel on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. So that will continue to be something we stay close with and follow, because we want to honor Sandra's life and all of the people in her town and her family that are standing for her. So tonight's just a little special episode. I love getting in touch with my political roots, my activism roots, so advocacy. So I have run across this amazing human who lives out on the West Coast, and I'm on the East Coast. So we are a 3-hour time difference. So we have to kind of work it out between the two of us when we can meet. But I've learned a lot from him. I hope he's learned a little from me. And I asked him if he wanted to come back this week and kind of break down what's going on with the kind of fallout of the election and how crazy everything is on social media, and it's negative and it's toxic, and I don't like it at all. I don't love that stuff. And what's happening with this cabinet that Trump is putting together, because I think most people don't have a clue who any of these people are if they're not from your state and you haven't followed their local political career, you really don't know much about them. So Warrior and I are going to break down everybody that's being asked or appointed to be in Trump's cabinet. Of course, we won't know till it goes through the committee approval hearings when I forgot the date of that. But for now, we can tell you a little bit about them and who they are, and if they have any, skeletons in their closet, which most of them do. I don't know if you could be a politician without one in your closet these days. So that's what we're going to do tonight. But he's also going to talk about some webinars that he had this week, where he was trying to educate the voters on more about Project 2025, which he has made his passion. And so we're going to start out with him telling us about what he's been up to the last couple of weeks and reintroduce him. So I just want to bring him up to the platform, if I can add him to the stage here. And Warrior, are you with us?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can. You're a little quiet.
I wonder. Oh, can you hear me now?
I can sort of hear you, but you're a little quiet. I've got my really good friend Kathy, who actually gave me this hat, by the way. It's Football Thursday Night, Warrior. So I'm wearing an old. Here you go. You can see it. I'm wearing an old Favre jersey. don't kill me, Green Bay. But I still love those glory days. And so, but my friend gave me this hat, and she's always supporting us. So let's try you again on that audio. You want to just start talking a little bit?
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you, but you're very distant. Now, I don't know if it's just me. Kath, can you let us know? And hello again, my sweet. Amber is off right now preparing. She's taking a break because she has a child, and we're live tonight at 9 p.m. for Ellen Greenberg. So we have no Amber tonight in the chat box or on the screen with us. So I'm going to rely on my friend Kathy, and if she's with us, hopefully she'll let us know. You sound very faint to me for some reason.
Check my sound and see which microphone I'm on.
Yeah, I got that. Weird. We're getting some weird background feedback too.
Hello? Still
yeah.
Quiet?
You're still pretty quiet. You're not as loud as you normally are. Do I sound normal loud?
You sound normal.
Okay. You just sound, you sound a little quiet. Let me see what Kathy has to say here. He sounds far away. Yeah, that's what I thought. So do you have a mic plugged in tonight, or?
Same thing I always have.
Same thing you always have. Yeah, you're just kind of far away. I don't know if you want to try and just go no mic and use the mic on your computer. My mic is broken right now, so I'm literally just using the mic on the laptop, which isn't ideal because it doesn't mute out all of the kind of weird, sometimes makes you sound a little too tinny when you're on the computer. But I don't have a mic tonight, so I'm just going with the computer mic. You might want to try that because I just want to make sure everybody can hear you okay.
Can you hear me now, or is it still low?
Better. Is that better, Kath? Because it sounds better to me. Yeah.
Is that
that's
okay?
definitely better. Yeah, I can hear you better now. Great. Well, welcome back.
Yeah, it switched over to my Mac mic as opposed to my regular mic. So that's what happened. I don't know what happened with that. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yes, now you're perfect. Now you sound like you always do. And Kathy wrote much better. So thank you, my friend.
Excellent.
All right. Well, so Digital Warrior, just remind everybody who you are and how we met and what you've been up to the last couple of weeks.
Well, I am a digital activist, just someone who is just like everyone else, just out here trying to do what we can to help defend democracy. And that's one of the things I've been working on is Defenders of Democracy Academy, which is really trying to educate people about what's going on, not only with Project 2025 and Pillar 4, which is the unknown executive orders and all the stuff that they're going to be throwing on us on January 20th, sort of thinking through what they could possibly do to try to disrupt things, that effort. But also it's about educating people about what we can do. We cannot be helpless. We cannot be, keep beating ourselves up. So I've been posting a lot about the need to be positive and be encouraging and not be divisive, as hard as it is to not beat up people or try to blame people for any losses, that we need to find a way to regroup, because we cannot become cynical. Because we become cynical, they win. Because cynical people don't vote, they discourage other people from voting. And as we know, Republicans will always do better the less people who vote, because their policies are so bad. So if you have an opportunity, check out the website and you can get registered on that. I'll update you along the way. So right now I'm doing a series on Pillar 4, Project 2025.
Right.
And the other day we talked about what they could do legally in terms of to penalize people, to punish people. Some of the things that you can see what they're doing already is, they're making it illegal to wear masks in some states. They are weaponizing.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
You saw what they did with the students during the protest. That's just going to be routine. There is a law in Georgia called, I don't know what the law is called, but it's a RICO law. So, for example, if you are a protester and someone else does something bad, they wrap you all up in a RICO charge. So right now there's 61 people who are just protesters getting charged with felonies for multi-decades in prison in Georgia. And so far it's moving up to the appellate court that they want to be able to prosecute these people. So imagine being a regular protester getting caught up in a RICO charge because you attended an event. So whether or not this goes through, it's very chilling for people. And the last one I want to talk about regarding some of the legal implications are, and this happened too, I think it's the McKesson/Doe case. In this case, the Black Lives Matter founder was charged with a felony for someone else committing some crime. So they said that the organizer of the event can get charged. And it actually went to the Supreme Court, and they did not rule on it. They just pushed it back down to a lower court to look at it. And the appellate court hasn't taken it up again. So right now it's still a live thing. It could possibly be a case where if you're an organizer of a protest and somebody else, whether it's a real protester or just an instigator, right?
Right.
Just someone out there who is just an inciter, not really a protester, does some damage. You as the BLM or the protest organizer can get hit with a felony. And that too is very, very chilling.
So this is just in this first 2 weeks, this is information's coming out. So I want to back it up a second. Making it illegal to wear masks. So that's just kind of ridiculous, first of all, and it seems to be against my rights, because if I want to wear a mask when I'm out in public or when I go on, because I travel a lot. So when I'm on airplanes between Wisconsin and Florida and I'm not feeling good and I don't want to give the guy sitting next to me or the woman sitting next to me or their kids my cold and I want to put a mask on. So what states have been spouting off about this, or is this something they're trying to do federally?
No, in law in New York, the state of New York and Nassau County, they have enacted it. That's up in Trump County, and they wanted to do it so they protesting up there. They'd have to take their masks off so they can, harass them or prosecute them or whatever they want to do. But as we know, Republicans do what the other Republicans do all the time. So if these guys are trying it, they're going to try it someplace else. The RICO charge one, that is happening in Georgia. That's sort of a trial. That's the same thing that Fannie Willis was trying to do with the RICO charge for all those people. They did the same thing on these protesters, and that's still going on. That's been 3 or 4 years in the works. They were protesting the whole Cop City in Atlanta, Georgia, where they built that big, huge detention center, and they didn't want it there.
Right.
But they are charging 61 everyday people who are just normal protesters with felonies. And I don't know how much money it's costing, but someone's got to be help supporting them, because I can't imagine having to face the state of Georgia for felony charges on your own dime. So
no, and most people wouldn't have money to go up against that kind of charge. The lawyer that you would need for that would be really highly expensive, and so yeah, they're kind of trying to make a slow start at taking away Americans' right to peaceful protest.
Yes, and we saw it. And one of the things I cautioned people about, and I got a lot of grief because they felt justified in it. Those students who were protesting Gaza earlier this year, and in some cases it got it got violent on both sides. I thought we have got to be able to let students protest, because they were coming down so hard on them, and there were some instigators in the audience out there starting stuff, riling stuff up, trying to get things going. And all the Republicans did is use that as an opportunity to call in the university heads to these hearings to lambast them, and they got 3 or 4 of them fired, which is really their part of their overall project under Project 2025 is to make the universities go out of business. That's part of what J.D. Vance has talked about. That's part of what Trump's talking about now when he's talking about doing their Make America Great University. I don't know what it's called, but they want to do a university that's free, where you can get indoctrinated by conservative values. So
Right.
They're doing all this.
And what's really interesting that you would say that, and sorry about my voice, I've had a sore throat all week, but I've seen a lot of posting going on Twitter X from some MAGA crowd, like putting down universities, making defamatory comments about professors and people who work on college campuses, so it's almost like they're already flooding out this disinformation to their group that universities are bad and that college kids are bad. I saw somebody else post about how he used to be some type of an adjunct lecturer at a university and making disparaging comments about university kids and that they're just useless and all they do is party. And that's just such a complete overreach. It's just a ridiculous statement because that's not true at all. And I mean, it's just laughable. I've been so stressed out the last 2 weeks seeing all of this unfold just as a normal American human, whether I were to be a left-leaning person or a middle-of-the-road person or a far, far left person or whatever my ideologies are, seeing all of this unfold the last few weeks where they're doing exactly what we talked about when you and I met before the election, 3 or 4 weeks before the election, all the little bits and pieces of Project 2025, and they're already starting to bring them out. And then they start a disinformation campaign and get people ganging up, like the gang mentality almost. I even wrote back to this person and I said, wait a minute, you taught on a college campus. Why are you defaming college kids? Why are you I think the whole post started out with, he made a comment about me being a cop at a university and how that wasn't a real cop. And then I got off on this whole thing that I was not happy with because I overreacted a little bit because there's no point in going out after people that are trying to attack you and they don't even know you. They don't know your soul. They don't know who you are. And they're just mad at you for some reason, for something that you might have posted that they don't agree with. So then they're going to come at you. They're going to come at your hair color. If you have wrinkles, if you're tall, short, fat, bald, handicapped, they don't care because they'll just come at you. And then they'll come after your occupation, whatever you did for a living. It's classic. It's just classic. So I didn't spend too much time engaging with him because I don't really feel that his opinion is worthy of me or of anybody that went to college or that is currently in college. So, but it is scary. It's scary to me that one president and his cabinet can actually change the entire landscape of America. That's terrifying to me.
Well, that's where we are. And this effort for undermining universities has been going on for quite some time. We're just paying attention to it now because it's so in your face, and they are slowly but surely gathering the resources to implement some of these things. But it's been something they've been working on for quite some time. And I did a post today. There's a guy named Delbert. His last name's Delbert. I forgot his first name, but he was the British citizen in 1940s, 1930s, who was responsible for putting up the counter disinformation campaign against Nazis. And it was a very successful, it was called Black Propaganda. And he says you cannot, and this sounds sort of counter to what we've been told and what we've been hearing, what we've been saying. And it makes sense because what we've been doing and saying has not been working. You don't really counter. What his argument is, you don't really counter their lies with truth because they're not going to believe it. They've been so indoctrinated. He says you got to get into their bubble and sort of talk like them, and then over time persuade them that maybe their vision is not right, which is what he did. So he represented himself as a Nazi German because he spoke fluent German, and so he acted like, hey, your generals are, he said, our generals are, doing these things to us, leaving us out in the field, doing all this kind of stuff. And that's not right. And he would do things like, and it raised the question of ethics and stuff like that. But right now we're in a five alarm fire. And I am not going to be judgmental of someone who is going to push the line to save our democracy. So I thought it was an interesting perspective. I've never heard it before. All I've been hearing about is say truth, but you tell truth.
Hey, I've never heard of that before. But I kind of understand the whole mentality of it, because for myself, and Warrior, as you get older in life and you age and you go through so many election cycles and you see so much bickering. And I mean, back in my day when I was a kid, and I make myself sound old when I say that I'm not that old, but when I was a child, politics was off the table at holidays. We were not allowed to talk about it. My dad was very involved civically. My grandma's, everybody in my family was, but so we were all on the same page. We were in our house, but we still weren't allowed to talk about it because it revs everybody up and it gets everybody excited. And my grandma would say, I want everybody to be peaceful and happy on Thanksgiving. So, and I know there's a lot of families that it's like sports, you fly the Packer flag and you fly the Bears flag, because that's who the Packers are playing this weekend, by the way. Thanks to Kathy to reminding me. And you marry somebody that's on a different team, right? So then you've got a household divided. Well, this happens with politics too. And that's exactly why when we were growing up in the 70s and the 80s, you weren't supposed to talk about politics on holidays, and you weren't supposed to talk about politics at any big major gathering either, because everybody ends up bickering and arguing, and then it ruins the fun of the actual event. That's what it was like. And now, because we have social media and we have all these platforms, and I'm welcome, Jess, and thank you for letting us know. We know we're having a little bit of issues tonight. I don't know if it's my internet or if it's just the stratosphere. So thank you. I've done everything I can really do about it. I mean, if it gets really bad, Kathy and Jess, just let me know. And we might have to just, I know there's live streamers that literally just shut it down and open up a brand new stream. So let me know if this stream has issues and it's broken. I can't really do anything more than I've done. So keep me updated, guys, if we're cutting out too much. So that's my frustration, Warrior, is that now we have all the social media platforms. So every day is a holiday, and now you get to talk about politics every day. So every day, no matter what platform you go on, somebody is dissing somebody. There's so much toxicity, because Jess is a friend of mine, and we are not on the same, we don't vote for the same people typically, but we talk, like we like each other as humans, and we can talk it out. And I like understanding why people vote for someone that I don't want to vote for. And I want to think that they want to understand why I vote for who I vote for. Isn't that how it's supposed to work in a situation where everybody's trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt? But what happens is if one side is so against the other side, and the other side is so against the other side, because they both believe that their ideology, their policy, their person who's running is so right that they're not willing to even entertain for a minute that maybe they're wrong. That's why everything's so toxic right now. What do you think, Warrior?
I think that's giving them an excuse, and I'll tell you why. Because only one side continues to lie about everything. Only one side does that. They have a whole propaganda network that lies to people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not on the left, that's on the right. Fox News and OAN and the rest of those guys lie to their people all the time. And that's part of their thing. So that's why they're always riled up and angry, and they think they know what they're talking about. And that's why after the election, people are doing some research saying, wait a minute, Trump was lying about Project 2025. He's really going to do those things? Because they never told him any of those things. So that's why I say it's different. I mean, we don't have a propaganda network on the left. And they say that they say it's the liberal media, but that's part of their liberal, that's part of their propaganda. They're lying about that as well. So
now I can agree with you. There's really not a propaganda necessarily force on the left of the aisle, but people don't always tell us the truth. There's no way in the world that everybody that's on the left, that's a Democrat, or even let's say an independent leaning left or an independent leaning right, there's no way that a candidate has never not lied. It's impossible. I would be entirely stunned if I ever found out that there was one candidate, even some of my favorites, that I find to hold up very high values, because unfortunately, once you're part of the train, once you're part of the political machine, you're forced to lie sometimes. You're forced to lie by your campaign managers, by the people that are trying to get you elected, by the people that are lying about you. You have to turn around and sometimes lie about them, because how do you combat being lied about all the time if you don't come back hard? If you can constantly take the high road in politics, you will never, ever get elected. That's why most really nice, kind, decent individuals that would love to run for office, that don't have a mean bone in their body or a narcissistic, egotistical bone in their body, they will not run for office, because they know they'll never win. They'll never get elected, because sadly, we have turned into a world where we seem to love the nonsense. We seem to love the conflict and the constant yapping at each other and saying mean things to each other and putting each other down. And people seem to get like a high off of that. And I don't understand it. Now the chat says we're still breaking up a little bit. So let me see. Oh, good. No cutting out. All right. So I think it might be my internet. I don't know. We had storms here today.
I started muting when you were talking too. So that might be
Oh yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I'll mute when you talk, and because that sometimes can happen. So yes, let's do that, Warrior. I'm trying not to rant too much tonight, because I have every respect for the ladies that are in my chat tonight, and especially Jess. I don't know if she feels like coming on with just her voice or not, but she's very well spoken. Jess thank you for your service, Jess. She served us. She served her country. She had a very high-ranking position in the military, and I have every reason to understand in some ways why she leans conservative versus me leaning liberal, because I'm a social worker and have been my whole life. Even when I was a police officer, I was a social worker. So based on our kind of humanitarian feelings about programs and ideology and policy, that kind of pushes us to lean one side of the aisle or the other. But hi, welcome. Hospice Jess, welcome. Are you a hospice nurse, Jess? Don't think I've met you before, but welcome to Social Change Warriors. And we always love to have everybody. We are welcome anybody from anywhere in the world. I mean, we're willing to debate you. And I love debating with Warrior because he's very passionate. And having been a lifelong raised in a family of Democrats, I understand the passion. I understand the frustration with the whole Fox News. I would be happier if Fox News just called themselves Fox Media. That would be better, because then you're not professing to be something you're not. I would be happy if what they consider the leftist media, if they were, I'd like to see a completely bipartisan media network, somebody who's got lots of money and doesn't know what to do with it, start a new network, so we're not completely in this conglomerate of news, right? So we actually feel like we're getting our news from somebody who's trying to be bipartisan 100% of the time. Now, remember, guys, that's not always possible, because everybody's human. So the head of a company is human. The head of someone who works at the gas station on your corner is human. And people are going to fly their flag. Sometimes they're going to put out their signs, and you still have to get along. This is a world where we have to continue to get along, even when we don't agree. But when somebody starts coming for our rights, and I'm hoping that those of you that are traditional Republicans, I know you understand this, because I have a lot of friends that are traditional Republicans, and this new sect, I want to call them that, because I don't consider them Republicans, and I don't know how you feel, Jess, but they're kind of a whole different level. It's not business as usual, and I understand that's what they want. They don't want business as usual, but you also can't try to take an entire country and turn them into, Bible reading Christians, because not all of us read the Bible every day. Not all of us are going to church every day, even though we are spiritual. Maybe we did go to church every day at one time. We believe in God and Jesus, but you're trying to take this Christian right group that a lot of these senators and congressmen they're telling us they're involved with them. So I'm not making this up. This is not fake news. They're actually members, and Warrior helped us learn more about that 2 weeks ago. you can't just take an entire country and make it your way, because then it's not the United States of America. Then we're not a free country where we all get to think freely and have our own opinions and go to church when we choose to go to church and vote if we choose to vote, because we can't force anyone to vote in America. It's your right. You should do it, but we can't force it. And do not force me not to wear a mask, because if I want to wear a mask to protect people around me because I think I might have a cold or I might be getting COVID, I have every right as a human being, individual, grown-ass woman to wear a mask. And that's just completely idiotic and senseless to me that they would even try to go for that. And here's the thing, somebody could say, oh, don't get all upset and rant about that. That's just one county. Well, no, that's how things start. That's how things roll. That's how the snowman gets built. You start with a tiny little ball of snow and you roll it down a hill and you roll it down a hill. And then you've got a monstrous snowman, right? So, you should get worried about things like this. And I'm glad that Warrior brought that to my attention because I wasn't even aware of it. I'm trying to see who else. Yes, I met. Oh, hi. Yes, of course, Hospice Jess. Thank you. It's so great to see you. And thank you so much for your service as a nurse and working in the medical profession. That is not easy. So Warrior, let's backtrack just a little bit here. I'm going to pull up just real quickly, just a short deck that I made. I'm going to see if I can add to the stage because tonight we're having some tech issues. So I don't know if I can, but I'm going to do my best to see if I can pull it up. And I'm just going to roll here a minute with it. So I'm being a little snarky here, okay? Because America first. So now we got that going on. So we got Make America Great Again. That was a political slogan that the Trump people came up with, back in 2015. So when you try to turn a slogan into an actual philosophy or an ideology, that could be a problem. Okay. Because what does that mean to all of you? What does Make America Great Again mean to all of you? Because are you insinuating that we weren't great before, or that just because a Democrat was in office, Barack Obama for 8 years, Clinton? So you're saying that those years were completely trash, that our country got trash, which is completely against the statistics and what we can prove that didn't happen. So what exactly do you mean by Make America Great Again? And what do you mean by America First, right? So don't start throwing all these slogans at me and putting the stuff on your hats and your t-shirts, and don't tell me what that means to you. What exactly is that? Project 2025? Is that, just completely taking over and trashing any government controls, taking away women's rights? Because that's basically what 2025 is doing. And so I got snarky here because I think America First right now is they're going to roll out more corruption because we've already got corrupt people in government. We certainly don't need any more. We have a lot of ego in government, and now we're going to have more with some of these people that are coming into the cabinet because they've already made it very clear how big of egos they have. They're not faking out any of you. You're just accepting it for whatever reason. So Americans are just accepting corruption. We're accepting egomaniacs, and we're accepting penises. Okay. Because now you guys might think, oh, that's terrible. Why is she saying that? That's ridiculous. Hey, it's not ridiculous. When President Trump goes, and sure, he didn't know he was going to be on a hot mic, but guess what? That's what happens sometimes when you talk and you're a person that's in the public eye. You might get on a hot mic, and then that shows us who you really are. I didn't need that hot mic. Most of us have common sense, and we have gut feelings, and we see what people are delivering to us. He was always delivering to us that he loves women in a way that's not respectful. And then he proved it by making his hot mic statement, which people are saying, oh, get over that. That was locker room talk, blah, blah, blah. No, I won't get over it. And it's not locker room talk. When you're actually saying that you do these things and that you grab women in private areas and you stick your tongue down their throat, but it's okay. They let you do it because you're famous. That is wrong, okay? And it should always be wrong. It should have been wrong then, and it should disqualify you from being the president. Ethics should matter. And if you don't have two candidates that are ethical, then what do? I don't know. What do you do, right? Do you write someone in? Do you do better next time? Because you get a primary people. You get 8, 9, 10 people on a stage going to debates. You have a choice. You do not have to go with the absolute worst one. You can try to make the best one. Try to pick the most ethical. If you don't feel there are 10 ethical people, trying to run for president, we have a major problem, way worse than we ever realized on both sides of the aisle. This is not a one side of the aisle problem. If you can't find someone who you feel is ethical and tells the truth and wants to be in public office to serve you and serve the country and their communities, we have a major, major problem. Do you remember a White House blowjob? That was American fodder for years. It was Republicans fodder for years. And everybody this week that's been saying nasty things about me and telling me to clutch my pearls. Well, you were sure clutching your pearls when this happened. And I'm not saying I didn't approve of it. Of course not. The president should never behave this way. We elect someone to be as ethical and as righteous and as decent as we can possibly get when we have that many choices, right, to pick for president. So, but please don't be a hypocrite. Do not tell me that it's okay to go on and on and on about what happened here. And no disrespect to Monica Lewinsky, by the way. She was a young girl. This was out of control. For me, this was all Clinton's fault, and I voted for him twice. It doesn't mean I like what he did. It doesn't mean I agree with what he did. I don't. And so this was, in my opinion, sure, she was 22. She had every bit of control over what she was doing. I think she did. So I think it was both their faults. But in a lot of ways, to me, it was more his fault because he's the major adult in the room with the most experience, with the most to lose, the most on the line. So if you can go on and on about this for years and make this impeachable and disqualifying, then tell me how you can still stick up for Trump when he's done what he's done and said what he said, and you've got accusations after accusations of him touching women without their permission on airplanes, locker rooms. And I had women coming at me this week on Twitter saying to me, oh, but those are all lies. Well, ladies, that's ridiculous. Never, ever, ever are 28 women going to all lie about the same thing. These women came out after his hot mic because they wanted to support each other. They didn't want to feel alone anymore. If any of you have ever been touched inappropriately, and I hope to God you haven't, but if any of you have, it is the worst feeling. And it's happened to me twice and it sucked. And I still hate it to this day. It makes me so angry, and I pray to God I never see either one of them again in my life in person, because I'm not a violent human. But now that I'm older, I have a lot more guts and a lot more that I could say to them to their face that I didn't say back then. There is nothing more disrespectful than touching a woman or trying to kiss her or do whatever it is that Trump is so proud of himself for doing. And if you don't believe 28 women, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say to you. It's frustrating to me. Bill, Bill, why? We had 22 years old, your intern. This was something that was on the internet, that was in a magazine that I read. So I just wanted to put it up for you to take a peek at. So Warrior, before I move on here, I just want to hear your thoughts on this, because I wanted to go back in history simply because we cannot continue to be hypocrites. If we're going to call one party out for something, then you have to call the other party out for it. You cannot keep doing this in this world. We have to stop it somehow. And I don't know how to do it. I'm at a loss.
Well, I just wanted to comment about something that you said initially. The Christian nationalists definitely have a plan for America. And you said they can't do that. Well, I say that's not true. Back in 1970 something, Iran was a country that was relatively free for women, meaning that they could walk around, they can go to college, they can go without the thing over their head, all that stuff. All that changed, right? So it can happen here. In Hungary, it's happening. In Slovakia, and all these places, it can happen if people allow it to happen. So I don't want you to be lulled into false sense of security that it can't happen here, and they fully intend for it to happen. So that's something that's not going to go away. Now the whole Monica Lewinsky and stuff like that, hypocrites. I think it all gets down to the different media ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
Because,
yeah. I mean, very good. Very well said. I like that.
Yes, you can. I mean, if anyone's looking at things honestly, because it's happened, I've talked to some people who were the Trump supporters, and I said something to him like, I forgot the specific example. He didn't even know about it. He goes, what? And I showed him, and he goes, oh, I didn't even hear about that. So there's this whole lack of information being shared over there. That doesn't happen on the left. It does not happen. We hear about it all. We didn't like hearing all the negative stuff about Biden, his age, and all this kind of stuff. We heard it all, right? But you
Well,
never.
Hunter Biden, we heard it all. We had to suck it up. I mean, he was wrong. What he did was wrong, and what he got, he deserved. And I have no problem calling out anybody. I have no problem. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, how old you are, if you're a woman, a man, if you're gay, lesbian, trans. If you did it, if you did the deed and you broke the law and you're dirty, we're going to call you out as social change warriors. That's just that. But how do we get everybody else to do that, Warrior?
The media, like I said, they don't do it on the other side. There was no exposés about all the terrible things that Trump has done. There's none of that. Because if they did, then he would say all of his followers, don't watch Fox News, go to OAN. These guys are fake news now. Whatever he does, it's the inequality among the ecosystems of the media, and that is really the root of all the problems. It says that the love of money is the root of all evil. I think it's the source of your media in this situation is the root of the problems that we're having. If there was fairness, meaning that you're not allowed to come on a TV show and lie to people directly, I would be cool with that. Whether it's a Democrat getting called out or a Republican getting called out, but you have a group of people who's like, hey, I can lie all I want on these left-wing medias. I'll never get called out for it on the right-wing medias, versus if a Democrat does it, they're going to get blasted on both medias, and that's
pretty much that's true. I mean, that's how it goes down. I mean, I don't understand. I'm never going to understand it completely. I get very frustrated with it because for me, there's nothing worse than hypocrisy. Tell the truth, be honest. We're not always going to agree on policy and procedure and money and how much to spend on education versus military. And I don't profess to know a ton about economics. I was forced to take economics in both my degrees, master's and undergrad, but I don't profess to know that. I rely on those of you that know a lot about economics to help me understand that side of it. I understand the policy side of it. I understand all the committees that the Senate and the Congress have to go through in order to get a law passed and how long that takes and how many laws never make it. I mean, the amount of laws that actually make it versus all the ones that they wrote, spent all their years in Senate and Congress writing would stun all of you. We might have to do a show on that sometime because I actually wrote a paper on that when I was in my master's degree at USC. So I had to do a ton of research. I had to interview a lot of congressmen and senators. I actually interviewed my Republican senator. She was awesome, from here in Daytona Beach. Then I was out in LA for a year and I interviewed both a Republican and a congressman out there. It's staggering what the laws they're trying to change and the laws they're trying to not necessarily boot out, but actually redo and make them better and make them more efficient. And they go through committee after committee after committee. I mean, it's just insane. It's just insane. You'd all be stunned if you knew. So we may have to cover that at some point. But thank you, Warrior. So Marco Rubio, interesting. So I've lived in Florida off and on since 2009, full time for quite a long time. And then I moved to LA to go to grad school at USC and then moved back to Madison, Wisconsin, my home. And now I'm in Madison, and here I'm considered a hybrid. I go back and forth between both states whenever I want to because I'm retired. So, and for one of you that came after me a couple of days ago, it said, how do you have all this time to be on here and talking about this, that, and the other? Ma'am, I'm retired. I paid my dues. Okay. I worked lots of jobs for my whole life. So that's how I have the time. I choose to do this. I'm a volunteer. I'm like Warrior. I'm choosing to help educate you and help to get people to come around and listen to reason and be in the middle more. I'm like a lefty version of John McCain. If I were to run for office, I would not be as conservative as John, but I would definitely be more of a team player, trying to listen to the other side, trying to get people to the middle and talk. So Marco, you have me a little confused because there's times when I was living in Florida and you had some really great things to say and you backed some really good laws for Florida and for the people of Florida. And then you'd like completely waffle and then you'd become a Trump mouthpiece again and a MAGA mouthpiece, which I don't understand because like I said, I have been having very respectful conversations, and I've also had people come after me the last 2 weeks. I've had some really good conversations with this really lovely lady that I've been chatting with, and I'm going to show our conversation at the end of the show because I think it's worth it, because here's two adult women, professionals who do not vote the same way. And she's trying to show me why she is MAGA. And I'm trying to show her why I think she's being hoodwinked and why I think that this was a political slogan that has now been turned into a movement that doesn't always have any direction for y'all. And I don't like that for you. I understand why you want to be part of it, because you have your leanings towards your policies that you want to see put into law. You have your leanings towards laws, fiscal leanings. But they're smoke and mirrors, and it's gonna come out eventually. And I don't ever say I told you so. It's not a right thing to do. It's unfair. It's not the way you treat people. I like to protect people. I don't like seeing people fooled by politicians who are literally lying to you every day. So Marco, you lost me. I couldn't even, I'm a Wisconsin voter because I live in Wisconsin a few more days a month than I live here. So, even if I wouldn't have voted for you, unfortunately, because you lost me, because you waffled back and you just started doing your mouthpiece, which is why he was one of the first people to be pulled in, because Mr. Trump is rewarding all of his Floridians. Do you have anything to add about Marco Warrior? Do you know much about him? I know you're out in Oregon, so I don't expect you to.
I'm in California. I know a lot of Marco Rubio. I pay attention to politics, but here's the overriding issue. The overriding issue is Marco's terrified of a primary. He's terrified from a primary on the right, meaning that he's not going to get someone who's more progressive to give him any risk, but someone who's saying, "Hey, I'm more extreme than you are, therefore, voters, you should vote for me," as opposed to Marco, because he's open borders. He's
oh, sorry. Hang on. I'm going to get the dog to be quiet.
Or mute yourself.
I am. I'm in this screen, so I have to work myself back to you, and then I can mute myself. Takes me a minute to get out of it. There we go. Go ahead, Warrior.
So they're always worried about being primaried from the right, and most of the Republican Party, the base, are more and more right-ish. So if you are collaborating with Democrats, they don't like that. If you are doing anything to help Democrats, they don't like that. And the more Marco tries to seem like he's more moderate, the more at risk he is of being primaried from the right. So they're all fearful of that. Now, on the Democratic side, we don't have the same thing. We have a similar thing, that they're worried about getting primaried from the left, but not so much so. Here it's hard right, especially after the Christian nationalists sort of took over the party, right? They're like, hey, we want absolute no this, no this, no this, no this, no this. And if you do, we're going to primary you. And they have the ability to back it up with, you got preachers up there preaching from the pulpit saying, vote for this guy, vote for that guy. They shouldn't be doing it, but they're doing it anyhow. So that's why Marco Rubio is no longer somewhat moderate, because he's worried about being primaried. Because if you do anything that's too helpful for people, your base hates it. Now, here's one of the things I want to have a discussion with you about on a different day, not today. But I believe that the way to win this fight for our democracy is going to come through finding a way to communicate with your everyday MAGA voter. And I'm going to say this. I'm not the right person to say that, because I have so much anger and animosity to that. But I recognize that I'm not the person who should be saying that to these people, because I would just not have the ability to control myself. But I recognize the need for it. I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Shit is going to hit the fan with Project 2025 coming up. People are going to lose their health benefits. They're going to lose special ed funding. They're going to lose all the things we talked about are going to come to fruition. Now, wait a minute, you really are trying to cut my Social Security and my Medicare and Medicaid? You're going to put us on a lifetime ban? You're going to cut food for poor people? Yes. We're going to do all that kind of stuff. So at that point, they're going to try to blame it on Democrats, because they always do that. And they're really good because they got propaganda media who's going to do it. So we got to be ready at that point to say, no, we warned you guys about that, and it's coming. Like any parent who has a child with a disability, and you're getting any kinds of funds, any kind of protection for your child, meaning the IEP, the IDA that supports that, all goes away. So now you have to go to these charter schools who do not have a mandate to accept your child. And even if they did accept your child, they're only going to give you, let's say, $8,000 to educate your child, but it might cost $30,000 to send that kid to that school. Even if they accepted you, who's going to pay that differential? So a lot of parents can say, I can't really go there. So they're going to be like, what can I do? Because the local school's closed because of all the funding getting ripped out to go to the private schools. Now the local school's done. So what are they going to do? They're going to homeschool their kid. And most parents don't have the fortitude to do that. So I'm only bringing this up to lay the groundwork for the discussion in the future, because I believe that we need to be ready to have that conversation with MAGA when it starts happening to them around January, February of next year, when they're like, whoa, he was lying to me about this. He's really going to deport these people. And we got to be ready to say, yes, we've been telling you that long, and we're your friends. We recognize that the enemy is the wealthy who are screwing your brain to think that the enemy is the trans person in San Francisco, the poor immigrant trying to make a better life for himself in Texas. That's not your enemy. It is the Elon Musk. It is the Peter Thiels. It is the Murdochs. It is all these people who've got bazillions of dollars, and they're trying to screw us. Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, that was well said. I appreciate you, and I'm happy to have that conversation with you. I'm happy to invite others that want to come on the platform and talk about it and understand it. We really, truly all have to stick together. If you haven't taken the time, Warrior, I don't know if I can type in the chat box. I want to put up your website on Project 2025. And so Hospice Jess, I thought Project 2025 and Trump have nothing to do with another. That's right. He said that, didn't he? He did tell us that. And some of us believed him and some of us didn't. So he immediately hired, wasn't his very first appointment, Warrior, one of the...
It's even worse than that. As soon as Kamala conceded, and all the top people said, "Oh, I guess we can tell you guys now. Project 2025 is the agenda." You got Steve Bannon saying it. You got that Benny Johnson saying it. You got these other people saying it and agreeing to it. Steve Bannon said it as well, saying, "Yes, that is our agenda." They just lied the entire time. We've been saying they're lying about it. Now they don't have to worry about it because it's too late. It is too late. And the bigger you the deeper you go to Project 25, you realize, oh my goodness, they are trying to checkmate the democracy. What they're doing in terms of the cuts and the proposals, now that they hold the House, the Senate, and the presidency, who can stop them? The courts won't do it.
The courts aren't going to do it because that got taken care of.
Say we have to be ready when it starts happening to MAGA to embrace them into the resistance against those people, because Trump is a billionaire, so he says. His interests are the other billionaires who are trying to control all of us, right?
I actually posted about that for weeks, Magna. I mean, Warrior, and I took a lot of heat for it, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see the ego. Okay. You just don't. And if any of you have not been paying attention, if you're on Twitter X, Elon has an entire crew of people that are posting for him, and they set him up. There's a way, I'm sure those of you that are savvy with Twitter X, you can set it up for your tweets to go out. There's programs where you can write your tweets. You can spend all day writing tweets, and then you can put them to go out every hour in the hour or every 30 minutes. So Elon, since the election, his feed is constant. It's constant. It's been just barraging Twitter X with his crap, one after the other. And shortly today, I just said, I got to get off here. I cannot do this anymore today. I've already spent 2 hours on here trying to post out happy, good thoughts about coming together, America. Let's figure this out. We're all in together. We cannot allow Project 2025 to become anything to do with America. And then all of a sudden, whoop, there's another post from Elon. Oh, 10 minutes later, another post. whoever he's paying to do his Twitter X, it's constant. And he had a meme put up today of him and Trump in these like super warrior costumes with a rocket going off behind. I mean, people, these guys are getting off on this. And that's why I put the penis comment in my header, because this is not just about your normal average ego. This is about guys that are just in it for themselves constantly, and they just don't respect anyone, much less women. They really don't respect anyone. They only respect each other if they're building each other up and making money together. And he also put up a photo of himself in high school where he said, when I was a young boy, I envisioned of making the world a better place and of changing the world. And then he said, and now I'm doing it. It's like, you're not changing the world. You're not changing the world. How are you changing the world? By backing Project 2025, by all of you going after Trump all those years ago when he would have easily, guys, Trump would have ran as a Democrat. What would you have done then? And then if Make America Great Again was a Democratic slogan, everybody who's conservative, who wants what they want, who wants to stay in their party no matter what, then Trump would have been the evil guy. Trump, Make America Great Again. Then the Democrats would have been, shunned for having this man, this egomaniac who touches women and shoves his tongue down their throats without their permission. That's all okay then, right? Because it's not my party. But then when it's your party, we make excuses for it. See, that's the hypocrisy that's been going on for years and years in American politics. So how are we going to stop it? What do? We're going to have to come up with a middle of the road party that a lot of us can get behind. We're going to need the Republicans against Trump that have been all over social media. We're going to need Democrats that are willing to be middle. And the rest of the outliers are going to have to be where they are, because we cannot continue to let outliers completely take over and set our laws and stuff our Supreme Court. Supreme Court is supposed to be bipartisan. That's how the fathers of our country planned it to be. And that's not what's happening now. Now we're talking about dismantling the Department of Education, dismantling the Department of Justice, turning everything into the presidency. So do you see what they're doing? They're doing it right under your noses. Warrior told us about this weeks and weeks and weeks ago when we first met. And I already knew about this, and most common sense Americans who want to be more in the middle, who don't always want to be stuck in their own way, who want to have discord and have public thinking and public talk where we all argue and sort it out like a Thanksgiving meal and have our sides and argue, but still agree what's best for the country, what's best for people that are hurting, that aren't making it, that can't pay their rent, that can't buy a house, that can't afford a car payment, what's best for everyone. And we're not doing that anymore. That's what is happening. And that's how they sold you the bill of goods on this whole Make America Great Again nonsense, because America's always been great, regardless of who the president was. There's hills, there's valleys. The economy has its upturns. Like I said, I'm not an economist. I don't understand it completely. I really don't. How all of the different, the stock market works, to me is mind boggling. So I'm not going to sit up here and preach to you about that. I don't know enough about it. But those who do know a lot about the economy and who do understand tariffs, they can come up here and speak to you about it. I can invite guests up here and I can be the moderator, because you need to understand what's about to happen in the next 4 years. It's super important that the middle class, the everyday Joe who's out there working 2 jobs and trying to maintain a household and be part of their family and see their kids play sports and take their wives out for dates because they have 2 jobs. So it's very hard to do that. They are the ones we have to take care of. We don't have to take care of the billionaires and the millionaires. They're good, and they really don't give a crap about you. And then the sooner you understand that, the better off we're all going to be. Sorry, Warrior. I just had a rough couple weeks.
That's fine. And we'll go through your list of all the appointees, but I just wanted to comment about and this is another show. There's just so many different topics, because I don't think a lot of people, and myself included, I've just come across this whole understanding about why the crypto brothers, the Elons, the Roger Teals, the David Sachs, and the other people who are really into crypto were really supporting Trump so much. And then it hit me. I saw somebody's post, and I'll make it simple for you. They want to make crypto the new currency and get rid of the dollar. And why do they want to do that? Because there's no regulation around crypto, meaning that they could donate or not donate, they could fund or not fund, whatever. Now, if there's no money that the feds or the government can keep an eye on to know that you're making this money or whatever, what's the tax rate going to be? So what billionaire is going to have his money be available for taxation? Not very many of them. They're all going to run it through crypto, right? So how are you going to be paying for the social services that we need, the Social Security, the Medicaid, and Medicare that's going to be paid, that's currently paid out of these things? It's going to go away. So if they make crypto the new standard, which is what the tech bros want, the Teals, the Musk, and those people want, that makes the dollar weaker. And it also does two other things. It makes it so we cannot sanction our enemies. So, for example, China and Russia, everything goes through SWIFT. The SWIFT system is our banking system. And if the United States controls the money, China can't hide it here and Russia can't hide it there because everyone's got to go through the SWIFT system. We can say, oh, that's from Russia. We've got sanctions on those guys. We can stop it. If the dollar goes away and it's no longer the standard, they can just pay somebody in a wallet, a crypto wallet. And that has another effect for your everyday person, which it hit me like a rock, that Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, he told people when he got elected, before he got elected, that he was going to take his first 2 paychecks in crypto. This is a perfect example. He took his first 2 paychecks in crypto instead of a check. And when he got them, they lost half their value overnight. So a check, let's say, is $20,000 for him. It became $10,000 in less than 1 day. That's how crypto works. And there's no FDIC guarantee, meaning if someone gets into your crypto account and steals all your crypto credits, you're out of luck. There's no backstop. Do you see the risk for that? So can you imagine trying to plan for your own life, your own security, your own benefits, and you get your Social Security crypto payment, and the next day it is worth half of that, but your rent is still the same, or your mortgage payment still, or your groceries now cost twice as much because the cost of the crypto exchange is different. When that hit me, and this is the last piece I'll say about this, because I've been really stressing on this, because when Elon said the other day that we're going to go through some things, and then the country's going to go through some, but it's going to get better in the end. Remember when he said that? He said it the other day, and that scared me, because in January we have to pass the debt ceiling bill again, that damn thing that they always hold hostage. But if Republicans are going to take control of that, they're going to hold out for major cuts of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, all the things that help people. They're not going to cut the wealthy people. They're not going to take anything from them. They're not going to cut from military budget. They're going to cut from our bones.
Right.
And if we don't accept that, they're going to crash the economy. And why that's good for crypto people? Because they know how to make money on the drop. If the economy goes from, let's say, 10 trillion to 5 trillion, a sophisticated investor knows how to make money on that drop. An unsophisticated investor, which is 99% of the Americans out there,
right,
won't know, and they'll be like, "Wait, my retirement income that was $1 million is now only worth 500,000 in 1 day." Yes, that's why these crypto guys were so on board, and that's why Trump started his own crypto company maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah.
He wanted to start his own crypto company so that he could take advantage of the policies he's going to enact or not enact. That's all happening already. We can't do anything about it. So come January 3rd, 4th, 5th, whenever they got to pass that debt limit bill, expect us to get extorted, and they will go. There's no one to stop them. We don't have the House, we don't have the Senate, we have the presidency, that they can just shut down the government like they've always been talking about doing. When they shut down the government, they can hold it out until Democrats agree that we're going to cut Social Security, Medicaid, all those things that they've been wanting to cut forever. There's no way to stop them. And in the meantime, in the background, you got these billionaires be like, yes, I'm making money hand over fist. Russia's going, oh, and they can't sanction us. And China's going, oh, they can't touch us because the dollar is no longer the standard. Now it's this cryptocurrency. That scares me more than anything, because our whole futures are based upon the savings and what we put together. Everything's at risk. And the billionaires are cool because they've got billions. Sorry to scare you about that, but it scares me.
Scares me a lot. And I read a lot about that this week. And there was also, I think you saw in the media where a lot of the billionaires were withdrawing money. I didn't take a note of it. So if any of you in the chat saw it, and but Bezos, there were like the top 3, and they all withdrew a ton of money this week. Like that was in national news. It was both on Fox News, for those of you that don't believe MSNBC or CNN or all the other channels we have at our disposal right now. If you only believe Fox, then I'm going to tell you it was on Fox too. So
Warren Buffett did it. Warren Buffett took it out. And Warren Buffett's number 1 rule is never sell your companies. He took it out and took out, I think, $35 billion, and he's sitting in cash because he doesn't want to be the stock.
Huge amount of money. Yeah, huge amount. I mean, money you can't even fathom. So what does he have, like a giant vault in one of his mansions, I would assume, where he's got the money? I mean, it's hard to fathom.
Just count.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. If he took it out of the stock, he took it out of the stocks he was trading because he knows it's going to get squirrely come January.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
recognize how squirrely it's going to get. I don't.
Well, like you said, he's basically warned the middle class, like, you're going to suffer the most first, but don't worry, we'll take care of you down the road. It'll all be okay. You just have to wait for it. And in the meantime, all of the very, very, very wealthy people are not going to suffer at all. And it should scare the living bejesus out of everybody, regardless of who you lean or how you lean or how you voted. You should be very, very concerned. And so if you don't know that much about Project 2025, I'm going to have a warrior tell me I'm going to type it in the chat box, because he's made himself an expert on it. He has a website. He did a webinar, 2 webinars you've done now, right?
Yes, I've done 2.
Yeah. So let's get everybody to your page so at least they can educate yourself. They don't have to agree with you or agree with me or anything we say, but at least educate yourself so you're ready for what's about to come down. Because even my own neighbor that I was talking to, they are lifelong Republicans. So they did not feel that they could vote for a Democrat. They just couldn't do it. So it wasn't so much that they are backing 45, now 47. They just couldn't do it. And I talked to him a little bit about the tariffs. Now, again, I'm not an expert on economy and on tariffs, but from what I read, and I like to read, I like to research, so I try to educate myself. They had absolutely no clue what I was talking about. Yeah. Because they really did just vote party lines. They didn't do the whole country over party, which is always something that you should consider, whether you're voting left, right, middle, whatever you vote. You should always make sure that the country will be safe and secure. And with this Project 2025 and Heritage Foundation, I'm having a hard time believing that anybody's okay with that. And that if you, no, come here, Zeus. Sorry, that's my grandpuppy. I don't understand it. So come on the show next week and talk to me. Like, tell me why it's okay that the Heritage Foundation hasn't already been exited out of our stratosphere, because they are a extremely Christian right movement and church state people, church state. Okay. I have nothing against religion. I was raised in a Lutheran church. I still believe in God and Jesus, and I'm spiritual, but no, we're not. You don't get to take over the world and preach at us and tell us how to live and how to believe and what our rights are. You don't get to do that. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. So as much as you got on the Trump train for whatever reason when you did, because that's what you all call it, so that's what I can call it, you're not listening. You're not listening to us common sense people that are trying to help you. We don't want to be right. We just want you to be safe. We don't want our rights taken away. We don't want your rights taken away.
Well, I have to disagree with you. They can and they will. They can take it away and they will take it away. That is their intent. So the only question is, what are we going to do about it? Because they actually firmly intend to put Bibles in every school and force every child to read it, to study it. They're going to take away a woman's right to choose. They've even said that they're going to take away a woman's right to the 19th Amendment, which is the right to vote. So when people say, make America great again, I ask, when was it great?
Right.
When was it? When was it 1950s when women couldn't vote? Was it 1860s when black people were 2/3 of a person? When was it great? Right? We're
Exactly.
great.
But also the other problem is that if that gentleman, I don't even want to call him a gentleman because to me he's just a complete crazy person. He was on it was either Fox or he was on one of the media stations, and he literally said that women are too emotional and women shouldn't vote because they're too emotional. They are hormonal. He came on the air, you guys. He actually said this. That should offend you. I don't care if your husband voted for Trump or Reagan or Nixon or whoever. That should offend you as a woman. If it doesn't, what is happening? What is going on? 50% of white women, because I'm talking to you and I'm going to point my finger at you because I was accused of doing that. So I might as well do it. What is happening to you? I mean, how are you allowing men to come on the air on public television and on YouTube channels and tell you that you don't deserve to vote? What part of that is not horrific to you and it should disturb you? And if they're willing to take away your right to vote again and take you back to the whatever 1920 or whatever, whenever we had, well, actually it was before that, suffrage was before that, but then they're going to take us back to 1974 when my own very amazing mother, who worked her entire life for the Department of Justice, and as Sean says, put away the mofos. My mom put away bad characters in the state of Wisconsin her entire career and worked tirelessly for hours and hours and hours. You're going to take away your credit cards? Because that's what you'll do next. If you want to take away my right to vote, you're certainly not going to trust me with credit cards because I might be hormonal and I might run those up on my husband or my boyfriend. Ladies, this is not good. And this should scare the living shit out of all of you, no matter what you vote for or who you choose to vote. If abortion is your only concern, then we need to figure it out because, again, the amount of abortions that happen in this country that are not medically necessary or medically needed, like the one I had to have to save my life, or I would have died and left my 2 children alone. Those have to happen. Do you want to know the numbers of how many girls have died in Texas already? Young mothers who have left their other children behind because they got no medical care, because that law is so overreaching. It's not just talking about a 6-week abortion ban. It bans every kind of help to a woman. And that as a woman should offend you as much as you're defending the tiny little 6-week fetus. I understand why you do. I get it. I'm a mom. I've had 2 kids and I lost one and almost died. So to the snarky guy the other day who was like asking me to prove how I almost died, there's one time. You may get to hear about the other 2 if I feel like telling you, but you can basically just go jump off a ship because I don't have to tell you anything about my medical life, only if I want to. But women, this should terrify you. If you have a daughter or a granddaughter, this should terrify you. Project 2025. So please, I'm going to share Warrior's website in the chat. Please go read about it, educate yourself on it. And Warrior and I will be back together again. Hopefully, I'm not sure what day next week. We have to sort it out, but we're going to do like an 8-part series on Project 2025, on all of your rights that are about to go away, and on the cabinet members. And I pulled that up a minute ago, but I have to do my normal calling out corruption live tonight at 9:00. We are honoring the life of Ellen Greenberg and calling out corruption in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where her murder is still unsolved. Her death is still ruled a suicide, even though she supposedly stabbed herself 20 times, 10 in the front and 10 in the back. So we're going to go over the utter atrocity that is the Ellen Greenberg case. Over on my other, I have the other thread for you to, the other link for you to join us at 9:00. So I want to wrap this up tonight with Warrior. I just want to I'm going to quickly run back up here to the deck.
Can you put in that tweet thread private chat? I thought I put it in the regular chat. I put a tweet thread that is the
good.
Thread I
Let me go back.
Today.
Yes, I see it. Perfect. It's in my private chat. I should be able to copy it. Let's see here if it lets me. Yes, it should let me go back to the comments.
That was a tweet I did earlier today on.
Thank you, Warrior.
Delmer, whatever his name was, who did the black propaganda. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait to take a look at this and read that. Can you put your website where we can learn more about Project 2025, especially the ladies, because this Project 2025 affects everyone, but it does affect women more.
Have access to the chat. I don't want to click anything investing. It's understandingproject2025.com.
Okay.
That's the URL.
Yeah, I'll write that in there right now.
.com is the URL for learning about Project 2025. If you want to find out about the webinars I've been doing on Pillar 4 and or Project 2025, that is at defendersofdemocracyacademy.com. And just register there, and I will let you know when the next one's coming. But there's a lot of education coming our way about how we can defend. And like I said, I think the answer is through when the shit hits the fan soon, we need to be ready to embrace MAGA and let them know that the real enemy is not liberals or Dems and that kind of stuff. It is the wealthy. The wealthy are the ones trying to control all of us. Hey, Amber, hope you feel better.
So do I got this defendersofdemocracy.com, correct?
Defendersofdemocracyacademy.com.
Oh, Academy. Sorry, I missed that. I know I missed something. I want to just put this up here for the replay. Now I think I have it right. You can let me know. I've got the one up already. And then let me see if I can put this one up here too. There we go. Is that it, Warrior? Defendersofdemocracyacademy.com.
Yes.
Okay, good. So whether you're on the right of the aisle, the left of the aisle, we don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You have to educate yourself. You have to be prepared. You voted for this. What's the slogan? What's that old slogan for Toyota? You asked for it, you got it, Toyota. Well, here you go. So, but we will always support you.
Put in the URL, Understanding Project 25 there too.
Which one? Oh, I didn't type that one yet. What was that one? Understanding?
Yeah, understandingproject2025.com.
Got it. Understandingproject2025.com. This is great stuff, everyone. The Warrior has spent so much time of his own personal time. He's a volunteer. If you voted for this, please educate yourself at the very least. If you did, then okay, then come on my show next week. Come on the show with Warrior and I, and hopefully Amber will be back. Tell us why. Tell us why you are standing with Project 2025. Explain it to us. Help us understand, because I don't. I've read a lot of it. I've read a lot of it. Say it again, Warrior.
I can't be on that call. You're on your own with that one.
Well, that's okay.
I'm not that person who could do that. I recognize that in myself. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, that's why I got my master's in social work. I like working with people. I like listening to people. I like trying to understand and come to the middle the best we can. And that to me, that's the only way this world will ever survive, is teamwork, togetherness, right? It has to happen. So if you're too stubborn on one side or the other, it's never going to work, because it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in a friendship, a marriage, a business, anything. Constantly there has to be teamwork. There has to be some form of getting along and understanding each other's side and each other's way of thinking, like you said. So thanks, everybody. We appreciate you. We're so happy you came tonight. And if you watch on the replay, thank you. If you have any questions for me, you can email me at SCW. So socialchangewarriors.scw@gmail.com. And I'll put that on my Twitter X feed as well. And it'll also be in, I'll type it in the chat box for the next, for Ellen Greenberg. So if you want to pop over there at some time and watch that one on replay, or if you're going to come live, that's great. And that's a new email that I just created for questions and suggestions for platform content. Warrior, you are so knowledgeable. You are just so entertaining, because you teach in such a great way, and it makes it feel entertaining. It's not boring to learn about all of this information from you. So I look forward to our next visit. And I was telling everybody, let me pull this up one more last time. We're going to go over the cabinet, because we're just going to share. Some of you don't know anything about, any of these people. Marco Rubio is Florida. Mike Huckabee, remind me, Kentucky?
No, Arkansas. He was
Oh,
the former
Arkansas.
governor.
Yes, thank you. Arkansas. What about Mike Walls? Where is he?
I don't know Mike Walls.
I don't either. So that's the thing. I mean, he's going to be our national security advisor, people. And if Warrior and I don't know where he's from, I'm pretty sure you don't know where he's from unless you live in his state, right?
Isn't Tulsi Gabbard the national security advisor?
Oh, I don't know. This is what I pulled up today. So I got to go back to the main. It's not letting me forward this deck anymore. I wonder why. Probably. Well, hang on. I'll go over here and do it this way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tulsi was.
So we've got Elise. Is it Stefanik?
She is the ambassador to the UN.
Yep. Then we've got Governor Kristi Noem. She's Secretary of Homeland Security now, or not yet, but appointed. And she's from Utah, correct?
No, she's from North Dakota, South Dakota.
Oh, the Dakotas. Okay. Okay, one of those. Okay, I don't know why I thought she was the governor of Utah.
She got her own dog and bragged about it.
Again, here's the thing, right, people? Most of us don't have a clue who these people are. We don't care because they're not in our state. They're not in my backyard. I don't really pay attention to how they're governing the state of North or South Carolina. And please, unless you're like super into politics 24/7, you can come on this platform and school me any day and teach me about all these governors and all these people around the world and what they're up to. But most people don't do that, and they don't have the time, and they don't really care. They just care about what's happening in their state and how it's affecting their taxes and how it's affecting their paycheck. So we're going to go over all of Trump's current nominees. And then we got, the two on the end here. Don't even get me started. So, and then you got the defense secretary. Okay, really, please. So we got a lot to talk about, and then we're going to, Tulsi's kind of interesting. She was a Democrat at one time in her life. Hawaii. She's from Hawaii. So, and then my most non-favorite person in the universe, people, is Matt Gaetz. And I'm going to tell you why when we meet next week. I lived here during most of the trial of his best friend, who was an absolute scum. And everything that, now again, do we have to pay for what our best friends do? No. But if we run in the circle with them and we've been seen with them all the time in pictures and events, and we're running around with them, then are we expected to believe that Matt Gaetz didn't know what this character was doing and all the money he was embezzling? And this guy Greenberg, who's now in jail, who took a major plea deal, people. Come on, let's be smart. Matt Gaetz has been a problem for the Republicans for years and years, and Trump wanted to get him out of his current situation he was in, which is the Ethics Committee was going to come out on Friday with all of the evidence they have against him. Oh my goodness. Now, all of a sudden today, he's going to be our attorney general, and he quits Congress in Florida after all the years of trying to ruin things for people in Florida. This man is a menace. He should have been in jail years ago with his buddy Greenberg. It's disgusting that he's still walking around. So if you don't think I don't like him, you are not listening. And you shouldn't like him either. He is the worst of the politicians in Florida.
I don't know about that. Florida holds bar a lot. DeSantis, come on now. There's a lot of you guys over there. Florida's a shithole country. I said it. Yes, I said it.
It's all right. I'm a part-timer here, but there's pieces of Florida I still love, and there's actual really good people here. So I know it doesn't seem like it most of the time, but there are very good people here that care about a lot of things and that are just being completely fooled right now by this fake cleaning of the swamp. Because people, if you don't think that MAGA's in the swamp with all the other swamp creatures on the right and on the left who shouldn't be in politics, who lie to you every day, you are not paying attention. It's just maddening that you think that this political slogan that was created for Trump in 2015 is a movement. They're not a movement. And you're going to figure it out. And everything Warrior's talking about is going to come true because they have the platform now. They have the ability to do it, and they're going to do it. So I love what you said, Warrior, that we all have to be prepared to support each other, uplift each other, educate each other, because we're literally all on the same team now. All of us that are normal, everyday citizens. It's all going to come crashing down pretty badly, and especially if you're a woman. So be prepared. 51% of white women who voted for Trump.
Not only a woman, if you are an immigrant, right? Those guys are going to get deported. Wait a minute. I didn't think you meant me, says the
Right.
leopard eating a furry face. Come on now.
Exactly.
Of
Exactly.
course it means you. Yeah, I'll let you go to your next webinar. I appreciate you
Thank
guys
you.
inviting me.
Oh,
Make
we're
it
always
good.
happy. Yes, we're happy
Make
to have you. And we're glad that you
out.
want to help out and make us, give us education on things we absolutely need to know more about. And I'll be inviting some more interesting characters to join you who know a lot about tariffs and the economy. And I know you do too, but I want to have somebody up here for you to banter with, since I do not know a lot about how the actual, mechanisms of tariffs work. I don't get it completely. And so
I'm not a MAGA. I'm cool. I can't argue
educate
with
you.
MAGA. I can't
I
argue
love,
with MAGA.
yes, I love being, no, they're, both of my friends are, they're middle of the road to Democrat. Well, one of them's a full blown Democrat. The other one's more of an independent, but they know a lot about economics. They know a lot about, the whole tariff situation and how to balance the budget and all that kind of interesting, it's a lot for most commoners for us to wrap our head around. We have a hard enough time balancing our own checkbook, much less the entire budget of the United States of America. So we are happy to be schooled on that and be taught more about how the money flows in and out. And I'm very interested in this whole crypto situation. And one last question that I do want to talk about next time. One of my friends in California was telling me about some type of it's the monetary equivalent to our dollar, but in Iraq, and something about that possibly being worth something. Do you know anything about that?
Are you talking about the BRICS? The BRICS system?
Yes.
BRI?
I think so. I think that
BRICS is China, Russia's attempt to be the new monetary system. That they're tired of being under the boot of the United States and the dollar. So they have a two-pronged approach, if you will. One is to devalue the dollar, and with Trump in office making the crypto the new dollar, that is accomplishing pretty much that. Or absent Trump getting back into office, they wanted BRICS, BRICS is what it's called, to be the new standard. And Putin just had back in Russia just 2 weeks ago, they had their annual BRICS conference, which was interesting because the UN Secretary General showed up there. Wait a minute, you went to a war criminal's country to hobnob with him. We are in some perilous times, is what I'm saying.
Right. Why are we hobnobbing with dictators who kill journalists, murder them, poison them? You can't, if you try to run against them, they will kill you. They will put you in prison and never let you out and make you suffer. Why are we hobnobbing with these people? What in the world is going on? It's just mind blowing.
It's money.
It's BRICS. It's cryptocurrency. It's money, power, egocentric, scary. It's very scary. Everybody should be scared right now. And you can all, many of you will not be scared. You will continue to trust 45 and about to be 47. But I've posted about this for years, even back when he first started making little voices about running for president, when he didn't know if he was going to run as a Republican or Democrat. And for those of you in your 20s and 30s, that is the case. That is not fake news. I'm not lying to you. Trump had no idea what party he was going to choose to run for. They wanted somebody that they knew needed the ego stroke. They go after egomaniacs all the time to run for office because it's all about them. It's all about how it makes them feel, and it gives them power. It gives them voice. That's why he can be so nasty and mean, because he really believes he can say anything about anybody and no one's going to really care. He can stand up and absolutely mock a disabled reporter, and all of you saw the people behind him. They were laughing. We're teaching our kids this. We're teaching our kids to laugh at disabled reporters. We're teaching our kids to go down high school halls and say, your body, my choice. We're teaching that. We're teaching January 6th, where they stormed the Capitol. And the woman from Florida that he just brought into his cabinet, if she gets appointed, says it wasn't that bad. I have the article. I was going to put it up tonight, but we're running out of time. We'll talk about it next week. She downplayed the entire January 6th. Do you want to downplay that to the families of the dead people? Would you like to do that?
Yeah, they'd do it without a doubt. Yeah, they would do it. And then Fox News would cover it as though it was the lady's fault. This is all true. And the sooner we can come to grips with the fact that about it and they won't get called out about it, it is what it is. And what lady are you referring to in Florida? I don't know who that is.
I've got so many names running around my head right now. I just showed her face. Hang on. Let me see if I can go. Well, I can't go back on that. Well, hang on. Maybe I can. Give me a sec. No, give me a second because she's in here somewhere. I got pictures of them all that I took off of the news media today. Miss Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, Miss Susie Q from Florida, who again, all these Florida people that I've had to watch be absolute idiots since 2000 and when I first moved to Florida in 2009. No care or concern for the normal person. Let's get rid of free lunch because parents should have to pay for that. Yeah, we're sending our kid to your school from 8 a.m. to school from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Some of them ride the bus and don't even get home till 5. But God forbid we give them a free lunch, which is mediocre, crappy food in the first place. We don't even feed our kids. We have to pay for it, and then you feed our kids absolute crap for lunch. This is going on in Florida. A lot of them all support getting rid of free lunch for kids, which is just, to me, the most meanest, cruelest, ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, all over the country they're doing that.
Yeah, but we never think about this, that we're putting first graders, guys, in school, and they're getting on a bus at 7 a.m. and my neighbor kid gets off the bus at 4:30. He gets on the bus at 7. He's in 4th grade. And that's okay. That's just okay with everybody.
No, it's not. That's the whole issue. But they're not hearing it on Fox News. That's the problem. Not hearing it over there. They're hearing lies and propaganda.
Right. And you might have asked me, why is he getting off the bus at 4:30, Kat? He's getting off the bus at 4:30 because there aren't enough bus drivers, because they're not paying him enough money. So that's why this kid's getting off the bus at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, because there aren't enough bus drivers to get the kids home from school. The school is literally 20 minutes from here. That's a whole nother rant that we could all go on. I'd love to hear from you, parents. I'd love to hear how long your kids are on school buses right now, because the school bus shortage of school bus drivers, we have a shortage of them right now. Most of you don't even know that. So I'd love to have you call in. Well, we're working on that. We're working on getting a call in. So when we do our political nights, you can call in, because that's what we want. We want to hear from you and want to hear what's going on in your towns and your communities. So Warrior, I'm going to let you close us off with what you want us to talk about next week, because you mentioned it at the beginning of the show. So what are we going to talk about next week, other than go over the backgrounds of some of these very sketchy borderline criminals? Well, in Matt Gett's case, full-blown criminal, just never taken to court yet, never arrested yet, but I'm praying. I'm holding my fingers on that one. I'm sure all the girls in the traffic ring from Greenberg and him are crossing their fingers now too, that they're all adults.
Well, I don't know what my topic is going to be for this week on my webinar when I talk about. So it'll probably be a continuation and expansion upon that, because it'll be easiest because I'll have done the research on it. I'm not sure the next topic is going to be, but the concept is basically helping people understand what is coming our way. And again, reinforce the concept that when the time comes, when all hell breaks loose, when MAGA is like, wait a minute, he really was lying to us about all of this. They are taking all this stuff away. We have to have the people in place, not me, people in place to say, hey, I'm not going to be judgmental of you. I'm welcoming you into the resistance, because the true enemy is the wealthy. Right. It is not your brother in California, your sister in New York. It is not the trans person. It is not the LGBT person. That is not your enemy. It is the Elon Musk. It is the Peter Thiels. It is the owner of Fox News. Those billionaires are poisoning our brains, and they're doing it for profit.
Yes. They just want as much money as they can to keep living the lavish lifestyles they live till they die, because they just don't care about you. It's just simple as that. There's very few people that civically really care about you.
How much is enough? I mean, good God. You've got 150 billion, 160 billion, 200 billion dollars, and you can't be bothered to feed a hungry child? That's too much for you? You can't let an elderly person live in dignity and have the ability to live in their own home because you don't want to give a few extra dollars so they can get a home health provider? You don't That's too much for you? I just don't get it. I don't get the callousness. I'm sorry, it fires me. I just get pissed about it.
No, you're okay. I know, because I know how my grandparents lived at the last part of their life, and we did everything we could. My mom, my sister, and I, but we're all middle class trying to survive and live and raise my own kids. And I helped my grandparents when I could. They helped me when they could. We all helped each other. That's what family does right now. Families live together. Families share residences because we can't afford to buy our own houses. We can't afford the rent. My youngest son pays $1,100 in Madison for a 1-bedroom apartment. And he is single and doesn't have any kids. So sure, he's doing pretty good. But when you do the taxes and you do the math and the level of responsibility he has at the University of Wisconsin, it's ridiculous. And when I was living in California, families live together all the time out there. Airbnb has taken off. Why do you think? It's not because people are greedy. It's because people are desperate. Airbnb is a desperate move by people trying to maintain their homes. I talked to so many homeowners in Southern California when I lived in the LA area. It is not what people think it is. Airbnb has blown up because people are going to lose their houses. They can't afford the taxes and the mortgage and everything that's involved. So they're renting their rooms out. And the people that are renting their rooms out can't afford to buy their own house. They're single like me, divorced for many, many years. I live on a retirement disability. Many women my age are still working because they cannot retire, because they can't afford to just live on. If we even get Social Security, they can't afford to live on their Social Security. So they end up having to take odd jobs, even if they might have health concerns or disability concerns as they get 60s and 70 years old. It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on right now. And we have to figure out how we can come together. There has to be a new party. We have to find a way to have the youth, the 20-year-olds. I'm talking to you, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. My sons are both in their 30s. My friends' kids are in their 30s and 40s. You have to figure this out, because we're all going to be gone eventually. Your moms, your dads, my grandparents are already gone. If I were a grandma, maybe I'm here another 30 years if I'm really lucky. If I live to be 91 years old, my grandma lived to be 90, but we're not here that much longer in the scheme of things. You all are going to have to figure this out, because you cannot let Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, all of these laws that they're going to try to pass and change to restrict your rights as an American, or the good, decent humans are going to leave here. And America will not look like America in 100 years. It will not. It'll just be a very scary place to live. Sad note to end on, but this is not a happy time, guys. You can try to stay as positive as you can. I want you to. I don't want people's mental health to take a dive, but we are on a cliff right now. We are on a cliff, and it's going to be up to us to pull us all back off of it. They don't want us to. And you can call me a conspiracy theorist all day long tomorrow on Twitter. I don't care. You just voted for somebody who's going to let Alex Jones in the freaking Oval Office, one of the worst, horrible conspiracy theorists of all times, with his ranting and raving and swearing. And what he did to those Sandy Hook parents should make you all vomit on your computers right now. That man is atrocious, and he's about to get into the White House again. Trump's bringing him in. Do not mark my words, he will. So if you're for him, if you're for Alex Jones, don't you dare come at me and Warrior and call us conspiracy theorists, because we're trying to tell you the truth. We're trying to explain to you that the Heritage Foundation is real. Project 2025 is real, and it's going to get implemented, and it's going to take away your rights, and it's going to strip programs away, like Warrior was saying, from children, for food and handicap services for people that have children with disabilities, pre-existing conditions, people like me, and our elders that are my mother's age in their 80s, trying to live out their lives in dignity. This is what's happening. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is happening. Just watch. It's going to keep unfolding every day. So what Warrior said at the beginning, that this is a red alert. This is what was lawyer? Oh, Kathy, help me out. I watched the Karen Reed trial with lawyer Emily, and I loved her, and she was awesome. And when something really bad was about to happen, what did she do? If you're still with us, Kathy, and Amber, you might know. But it was awesome because she put up like this giant alert, like something major was going to happen. I'm going to have to come up with something video wise. I'm going to have to get together with my techie sister, so that every time we talk about Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation, we can have a video blast up for you guys to make this a little more entertaining, because it is severely dangerous to you. And so we're going to keep covering this every week now with our political topics. We will continue with the Angry Bitch Club on Wednesdays, where we honor women's rights, women empowerment, women victims of crimes. Thursday, coming up very quickly, is Calling Out Corruption, where we're calling out dirty government, dirty cops, people that have been framed for murder, people that have been unjustly accused, and victims of murder that have no resolution. Their families, their souls right now are not resting peacefully because the person who murdered them is not in jail. That's what we're doing here at Social Change Warriors, and we're trying to encourage you to get involved in whatever way, shape, or form you can. Get involved in your community and do something. That's what I'm asking you to do. So it's just us. Thank you so much, Warrior. Thank you for popping in, Amber. Thank you to Kathy and everyone that was in the chat tonight. I appreciate you so much. And questions again, socialchangewarriors.scw@gmail.com. And I will be back in about a half an hour with Calling Out Corruption on our, just check our YouTube channel live link for Ellen Greenberg. And I'll see you next week for the Angry Bitch Club on Wednesday. That'll be the first time that we're back together after tonight. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Digital Warrior. Keep doing what you're doing. You're my hero. Everybody, left, right, middle, green, blue, I don't care. Go to Digital Warrior. Look at his website. Check out the links that we put up for you tonight. Educate yourself. That's what you can do. And so for our closeout, since I don't have an exit music yet, but I'm working on it, I will close us out with, our banner, which is knowledge, power, action, change. That's what we all have to remember, and that it is really just us. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Good night.